All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Versus Live. My name's Corey Ballmeister.
I'm Ross Merriam.
And we got Rob Shoes in the booth, and he even brought Rob with him. Say hi, Rob Shoes.
Hi, Rob Shoes.
Man, even his shoes are on point.
He really is.
The shoes really are on point every time.
They always are.
Y'all don't see it, but it's the highlight of our day to walk in and see which shoes Rob's wearing.
They don't get to see my great footwear, though. Mine is always impeccable as well. We don't need to tell them.
You have some fantastic socks, I will say.
I do always go for socks over shoes. I may be a socks and sandals kind of guy. Don't hold this against me, but...
May.
They can't prove it. It's below the table.
I can. I will tweet out a picture between rounds. Are you wearing socks and sandals today?
I probably am.
Yes,
yeah. All right, so this week we are playing another dive into standard Throne of Eldraine. This week we've basically refined the list, right? Like we had the lists early on that we really thought were going to be good, and now we are seeing the lists that are starting to win tournaments. Some of the ideas that we had early on, some of the ideas that are really new to us that we didn't really catch. So it should be a pretty fun day for standard.
Yeah, preview season for all intents and purposes is over. We have the entire set. People have started playing with it. The format is starting to develop. The metagame is starting to develop.
Yep.
Our first big paper tournament is going to be this weekend in Philadelphia. We have a team constructed open, so that'll be great. First big test for it. But we have seen some small tournaments happen. You know, there was an MPL split. There's been some fandom stuff, some other stuff on Arena. So we have some results to go on, and there are some decks that are clearly ahead of the pack. So today we're going to go over some of the decks that you should expect to see this weekend if you're going to be in Philadelphia or just watching coverage, and give you a nice little preview for the opening weeks of the format.
Exactly. And yeah, there's some decks that have been standing out, and so far there's been a player that has been standing out, and that's Brian Gottlieb, one of our own SCG writer and commentator. He has just been making these fandom tournaments his full-time job.
Yeah,
and
it's pretty well paying.
I mean, he's doing good. And that is the deck that I'm going to start with, is Brian Gottlieb's Bant Golos first place Casters Cup fandom event. That's a mouthful. That is a mouthful. Up against, what do you got, Rakdos Aggro?
Yes.
That also did pretty well in it?
This is not from the fandom event.
Oh, okay.
You know, this is just generic Rakdos Aggro. We've seen it around a little bit. I've tweaked it a little bit to how I like. I've seen a lot of Robber of the Rich, not a card I like.
Yeah.
This is on my most overrated list. You can go over to starcitygames.com, check that out. That was my article this week.
Yes. I want to read this one.
Robber of the Rich made that list, so we have eliminated that one. And just, playing good curve of creatures, good removal, and hopefully be able to put some pressure on this Golos deck, because the late game for this deck is basically unbeatable.
Yeah, I like that. And the one thing I like about your article this week is these are conversations that I have with you anytime we just, are hanging out and you just get on a rant. Be like, this card is terrible. Now it's just in written form, and all of you can read it as well and hear Ross's inner rant voice as you read it.
I have basically just compiled all of the rants I've given to Corey over the last 2 weeks, put them onto paper. That's all I did. It was great.
Yeah, so I naturally get half of his wage for his article here. It's only fair.
That is not how this works.
All right, so don't forget, everybody, to tag at SCG Tour. We will answer any questions, concerns, or burns, as you like to say, if you got any of those coming.
Aim those right there.
I mean, we'll see. Aim them at whoever loses the matches. How about that? Is that fair?
Don't care who wins or loses. Aim them right over there.
That's fair. Well, shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
All right, so I still got the beautiful marbles here, so you are going to be going first. All right, so we got Bant Golos against Rakdos here, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
I need some paper.
You might.
I mean, my life total is not going to change much early on.
Yeah, yours isn't going to be that super relevant.
Yours will. I got to keep track of that.
Yeah, no, you can forget about that. All right, well, if we're looking at my hand, this is a keep. It's not anything insane or anything, but it does some things.
My hand is a little land light, but our 2-drop should help us draw more lands, so I'm going to keep.
All right, perfect. And you're first.
No, you. Oh, yeah, I'm first because you have the marbles. That's how this works. That's even better.
Okay, so I'm going to play this and go on a mini rant. This is one of the cards that I also think is very, very overrated in this set, but I think this deck is solely where it shines. I mean, you can either get Golos, Hydroid Krasis, a land that fixes your mana base, Grazer, a Wrath of God. I've seen some lists that play the Beanstalk Giant, so you can also get a Rampant Growth from it. Like, I actually think Once Upon a Time shines in this Golos shell, but everything else, it's so mediocre.
Also, might be on the list.
It might be on the list. I like
very much agree. I do think getting some of the adventure creatures makes that card better. But this is not just a generically powerful card that you put into any green deck. You have to have very specific reasons to want this card in your deck.
Yep. And I'm going to get the Grazer here. I'm going to try to do the little bit of accelerant here. I'm going to take 2,
8.
graze, and put another land in. Your turn.
Selesnya Guildgate.
Guildgate. I got 2 Celestia Guildgates.
Well, I've got a creature that a Boiler Grazer doesn't block.
All right.
Crusader. Pass the turn.
What if I get a second one, huh?
You get a second one, then I don't know what to tell you. You wanted it more.
Then I would just straight wanted it more. Okay, so if we take a peek at my hand, we don't have a great turn here. I think it's not really worth it to play this, so we're just going to go like this and say go.
Okay. Upkeep.
Yep.
I'm at 19, you're at 17.
17, 19, draw.
Attack for 2.
Okay, I'll take it. Down to
You're at
15.
And I will play a Swamp and Spectacle in a Spawn of Mayhem.
Seems good.
Pass the turn.
All right, I'm going to Once Upon a Time again, and this is the mode where I don't like it, where you have to pay any amount of mana for it. All right, so we don't need more green or white land, so we're just going to go with the plains, since we don't need a dual of any of those colors. We're going to untap, draw, not a bad draw at all. Yeah, actually, this is pretty good. So we are going to start with the Teferi, and we'll bounce spawn, and then we'll play a Grazer, no activate. Your turn. The double Grazer blocks.
So upkeep,
Yep.
18, 14.
14 to 18. We're okay with that sticking around for now, just because we kind of needed the lands. And we're not giving any information away by saying that. Ross knows we do not have another land there.
We have 4 in hand.
And I have 6.
6.
Just 6.
I guess that's what happens with Stormfist Crusader.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to play a Rankle.
Rankies.
I'm going to send the Crusader Teferi, the Rankle at you. So Corey can protect the Teferi, but it will cost him a Rankle trigger to do so.
I will do so.
Okay, so you take 3, brings you to 11.
11, yep.
And I have plenty of cards, so I almost want to get rid of the Stormfist Crusader for a Grazer, but that feels really bad. We're definitely going to be discarding a card here. And I guess I'll be discarding this one.
Yep, I'll discard this. Any other modes there?
I'm still
Senor Miriam?
thinking about sacrificing a creature.
Okay.
So regardless, Grazer can still block a Rankle next turn. There's a good chance we actually get just Wrath next turn, which would be, as the kids say, a T.
God, you're hip, buddy.
I think I'm going to leave the Crusader around. Let's just discard.
Okay, I'm going to discard Growth Spiral. A lot worse on this turn.
You can go.
Okay, so we're going to untap.
Maybe I'm supposed to get Wrath. I should have kept the second Rankle around.
Possibly. I'm going to tick up and pass to you.
Okay, that's a little weird. What instant speed nonsense is going on in your deck other than Once Upon a Time? Oh, you have there we go. Now we figured it out. But
the pieces have come together.
it's 17 to 10.
17 to 10.
Draw for turn.
Okay.
That's actually kind of messed up. Because we are definitely getting Wrath, let's send both at Teferi just to make sure Teferi dies or Wrath happens in the main phase.
Both at Teferi, huh? And that's only when it connects
To
to...
a player.
Okay.
I believe, right? Yeah, to a player.
Okay. Well, I can't save it, so I just let it fall.
Well, I mean, you could Wrath.
I could,
If
if I had it.
And I will not extend into the Wrath. I'll just pass the turn.
Okay. Now I will just circuitous route. All right.
Are we setting up a large Hydroid Crisis?
We might be. All right, so we're going to get this. We're going to get this, couple gates. Our mana base is pretty solid. Don't really need any of our specific colors at the moment. So then we're going to untap. Draw. And yeah, with Ross not extending into the Wrath, I didn't want to pull the trigger. But here's a time when I'm just going to do a big crisis.
So you go to 8.
Yep. So I gain 1 total. So I go to 11.
Yep.
And this is for 6. And I'll draw 3, and then it's your turn.
Yeah. Upkeep. I go to 16. You go to 10.
Yep.
Each draw.
No
Draw for
Murderous
turn.
Rider is pretty nice.
Oh yeah. Why would I ever draw that?
Ross's favorite deck is Rakdos in playtesting that we've had so far. Right, Director Rob Shoes?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're up.
All right. That's
Gotta
a
get
lot.
big to contend with this crisis.
Yeah. All right, so now we have 1,000 cards in hand. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I think we can safely attack. I think that might be a little crazy. Might be a little crisis. Okay. We'll attack for 6.
I'll go to 10.
Okay, and then we're going to go Golos. Search for a field, get a zombie off that. Then I'm going to shortcut. I'm going to search again here. I'm going to take 2,
Go to 8.
go to 8, and then I'm going to circuitous route, get 2 more zombies.
But you get a zombie off this too. So you end up with 4.
Yep, thank you. So that, and then I need the black one for Golos' ability, and then it's your turn.
Upkeep, I go to 9.
I go
You
to 7. Yep. All right, so our hand is still stocked, but didn't really have to pull the trigger on the Wrath yet, just because the zombies do just kind of take over in situations like this. Even though if we look at our hand, I did have the option to do so. We just take a second to realize, like, what a ridiculous mana base this is. Like, this is standard right now.
I need to discard 2 cards in my upkeep.
Oh, yep.
What did I draw for turn? I drew this thing, and I drew this thing. Did we draw because we drew up the Crusader?
Drew 2 cards, yep.
So I think I was going to end up discarding these 2.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure I'm playing these 2 this turn.
2 Legion's End.
Really think I can win.
2 Legion's End would get it for you.
Really needed a Murderous Rider for that crisis to start applying pressure, though. The Golos might have been too much still. Send him with the Rankle.
All right, we'll block with a Grazer.
Let's play these for spectacle, since the Stormfist Crusader automatically turns that on.
Yep.
And then pass the turn.
All right. Untap. No, we can't really attack on the ground. You have way too many creatures here. But... 5. If we look at our hand, we got options. We got a ton of options here.
I mean, your hand isn't just 8 lands?
It's not 8 lands, believe it or not.
God, that's lucky.
All right, so you are at 9. So if I were to bounce this, you have 4 blockers. So this is going to go, you're going to go to 3. You have 4 blockers on this. You go to 1, so you'd have to block with that. Just so you wouldn't die. We'll just play it a little conservatively and attack for 6.
Well, I can't take 6 with double spawn Stormfist Crusader out, so let's double block.
Okay. Have that die. And then we will... I'm just going to take a nice conservative line here and go with Teferi. Tick up. And go with a Tranquil Cove. Go to 8. Get a Zombone. And then just say go.
Okay. Upkeep, I'm going to stack the Regisaurs, then the Crusader.
Okay, 7 to 8.
And the spawn, too, so we'll resolve that. So 7 to 6 after both of these.
Oh, yeah. So I'm at 6, you're at 7.
Yeah, and this gets a counter, but I want to draw this before I make a decision on what to discard with Regisaur.
Okay.
Let's discard Rankle and Mountain. Then we'll draw for turn.
Sure.
That is not particularly good. Feel like I'm getting Wrath this turn, so if I just attack in the air, then you can block the 5/5, go to 3, you would survive, and have very easy lethal the following turn. So, but I can't really do anything else. So that's a problem.
That is a problem when you can't do anything. That is a problem. You tend to need to do things to win games. When you can't do anything, not great. Not great.
So I guess I have to force a Wrath. If I play this, does that force a Wrath? You go block here. See, block here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a 5th blocker for this thing. You would only go to 3. That, then 2, then 1.
I'll save you the time. If you attack with just your flyers, I'm going to Wrath to save damage.
But that's not even good enough. That's like, why wouldn't you just take it?
I wouldn't want to die to a random burn spell.
Yeah, which doesn't exist in my deck.
Yeah, but I don't know. You know, that's the safe concern. I can't lose if I just Wrath and don't take any damage here. So.
Okay. Attack.
Yeah, Wrath. I wouldn't want to get randomly flame jabbed or whatever.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll play this thing in a castle.
Okay.
And I guess I'll draw a card in case I draw a 1-drop.
Makes sense.
I'll go to 6.
Yep.
You can go.
All right.
I guess I do have Bone Crusher Giant in my deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you take the Rankle hit, you can die to Bone Crusher Giant.
Okay. Exactly. All right, I'll Crisis for 10.
Yeah, that'll be big.
What? I'm only drawing 5 here. My hand wasn't that good. Just 3 Realm Clucker Giant.
It's hard to have a bad hand when it has 14 cards in it.
Yeah. And when all your lands are also 2/2 zombies. Like, that's the nice thing about Golos late game, is it just doesn't matter if you're flooding really bad. I mean, if you're flooding to the point where you have like 3 lands in hand and you're only able to just make 1 zombie a turn, that's not enough. But, I mean, if you're flooding in the sense where you only have 2 spells and 4 lands late game, it's like, your spells are probably going to be impactful and they're going to create zombies. So, yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the decks are tuned, I think we can start doing a little bit more sideboarding.
Okay.
So why don't we take a short break here and switch over and get some sideboarded games between Rakdos Aggro and Bant Golos. Go ahead. And welcome back to sideboarding between Rakdos Aggro and Bant Golos. On my side, Legion's End is the real all-star here, dealing with swarms of zombie tokens, Hydroid Krasis, even a couple Arboreal Grazers. So that's the definite side in. Bone Crusher Giant is not a particularly good card in the matchup because the stomp half of it just doesn't do a whole lot.
It can also kill a zombie.
So I wanted to cut those. Lava Coil, obviously pretty poor. Yep. We're bringing in Experimental Frenzy to help go long. Normally in a matchup like this, I would prefer being more disruptive rather than let the game go long and hope to win that style of game. But our main disruptive element in the sideboard, Duress, is not particularly good in the matchup because it doesn't take Realm Cloak Giant.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy. Sorry to interrupt you there, but like Duress against Golos in this version, and even like I've seen versions that play Beanstalk Giant, and Duress doesn't hit anything. It doesn't hit the spells out of these Golos decks anymore, which is very weird because they're creatures. The spells are now creatures, so it makes it really rough. It makes Once Upon a Time great, and it makes hand disruptions really bad. So that's a new element that we haven't really seen in Standard, really.
With with things like Stormfist Crusader and Dreadhorde Butcher and, just the general pressure from the deck turning on Spectacle so easily, I think you're going to have to move to something like Drill Bit.
Drill Bit, 100%. And I've seen that before. I have seen people go to just 4 Drill Bit.
We're going to see some Drill Bits at least later on.
Nice.
And, I might make the swap just for this deck for Game 3 because I want to see how that turns out. Because normally I'm not sure how these Frenzies are. I'm going to test them for one game, see how well they work. I do like that they're going to help tear through my deck and find multiple Legion's Ends.
Yeah.
Because usually the second Legion's End is really, really good.
Yeah.
So
I'm a little skeptic without Runaway Steamkin just in general, because, that's what makes the card busted, but, it's still Experimental Frenzy, so...
So we'll see how that goes for now, and we might move towards replacing some of these Duresses with Drill Bits for Game 3.
Yeah, I'd be interested in those results as well, because I think Drill Bit is going to be what we're going to see a shift towards more in these black aggressive decks, at least. Like, you can't play Drill Bit in, an Esper Hero type, a slower deck that just runs black as Hand Disruption, but then you have Thought Erasure, Yeah. So, all right, so from my end, a little bit of uncertainty as well of what to bring in here. I'm taking out 2 Once Upon a Times up against hyper aggressive decks. I don't want to draw too many of them. In fact, I don't want to draw 2. I just want to draw 1 in my opener, and I think this mediates that a little bit. I'm taking out 1 Golos here, just because drawing too many of them is not great, but it's still a fine card. And then Teferi on the draw, I'm trimming on some of them, even though it was kind of an all-star in this last game, for more ways to actually deal with answers. You have a lot of haste, so Teferi tends to be a lot worse if I'm just bouncing, some of your small mana cost creatures. Like Rotting Regisaur is the only thing that I love Teferi for. And then what we're bringing in, Veil of Summer to really stop the Murderous Rider and Legion's End start plan a little bit. Such a blowout if I can ever get that to work. It doesn't always work, though, so that's why we only have 2 in the board. A 5th Wrath of God in the form of Time Wipe here. Realm Cloak Giant I think is awesome. It's duress proof, but you just want a little bit more against these decks. And then 2 Deputies to kind of stem the bleeding against your hyper-aggressive draws.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
Sweet. All right, well, we got some questions out there, Director Rob, while we get ready for this next game.
Yeah, JB's wanted to know, Ross, why do you want an effect like Stormfist Crusader in your deck? Like, why is the symmetric card draw okay?
So I'm not a big fan of the card, to be honest, but it was not a card I have a lot of experience with, and I definitely have not been a fan of Robber of the Rich, so it's sort of the next card on the list. I like how easily it enables Spectacle, just by itself, and also as a 2/2 menace creature.
Yeah.
And the evasion is kind of nice, but I agree the symmetric card draw is awkward. But hopefully the idea is that if you're both curving out, I'm still going to get under you, and I'll end the game when you have 5 cards in your hand.
Yeah, and I play giant creatures, and you draw into Murderous Riders or whatever, and it just doesn't matter. I get the theory behind it as well, but I'm not sold on it either.
Yeah, that 2-drop slot after Dreadhorde Butcher is not great.
Yeah, because being able to curve out your opponent when they have any sweepers or whatever, it feels pretty bad because you're drawing extra threats and then you're deploying extra threats, but they're finding ways to their sweeper. At least that's how the dynamics of this match plays out. But
it's the kind of card that ends up generally pushing the game to go longer, which you don't really want.
All right, let's take another question there, Rob.
And then kind of on the back of that, Ryan Potts wanted to know, what exactly is it that you're off on Robber for? Is it that your opponent has to have more cards in hand? Is it the rogue clause?
It's all of those things combined. They accumulate on top of each other. So it's not good when you're on the draw, because you need to have more cards in hand. It's not that great when they have a blocker, because you need to attack with the rogue. So to get that card that you've now put under it, you probably have to suicide your 2/2 into whatever blocker they have, and on
top of that, half the times you hit lands, and you can't do anything.
All 3.
Yeah.
Yep. And when you factor in all 3 of those limitations on the ability, what you get is a mediocre creature that sometimes throws itself away in order for you to maybe draw an extra card.
Yeah, and whenever I cast a spell off Robber of the Rich, I feel lucky. I feel ecstatic.
Yeah. No, just have not been a fan.
All right, great question so far. We will get to some more after this, but shall we start the game?
Yeah, I've got a nice hand here.
Mine is definitely less nice. Now, these are the type of hands that I think are just 100% a trap. I don't really do anything early. Sure, I have a protection spell, I have a decent card here, and I have a good card to ramp in, but I'm actually going to mulligan this one. This one doesn't look like it should be a mulligan, but it just doesn't do anything on the draw. It's too slow. You know, we're not a Bant mid-range deck. You really need some kind of ramp. Veil is not going to stop a hand disruption spell. I think these types of hand are traps.
Yeah. I think that hand is probably cantripping with the Veil as early as possible. I think you're playing Forest Go and hoping I play a black 2-drop.
Exactly.
So you could just cantrip it and maybe find something to do, and that is not where you want to be.
I just really wanted to take another question, Rob.
Yeah.
That's why I mulliganed.
So finally one for your deck, Corey.
Okay.
Drizzy Druzzler wants to know, do you think there's some kind of tension between choosing to play Grazer versus Risen Reef in a deck like this?
No, because Grazer allows you to get to, a turn 2 Teferi. It ramps you. I think Risen Reef is just generally really bad in the format right now. It's too weak of stats. Risen Reef is really good when removal is really prevalent. Because then, you're still getting value off a card that they need to be killed. But right now we're seeing decks that are just going over the top of it. So I don't think Risen Reef has a place in the metagame right now.
You think if I need to go over the top of them, I've got to take advantage of Risen Reef to the extreme and play all these elementals in my deck. But then you just end up with a deck full of individually weak cards.
Yep.
That isn't doing anything that's appreciably more powerful than what other people are doing. So why not just play powerful cards that are doing powerful things together?
Exactly. No, I'm with you. All right, well, I got a mulligan because that was a one-lander. That was terrible. So
let's take another one then.
So, Ross, in previous standard formats, Spawn of Mayhem wasn't seeing play. What has changed that for you in these Rakdos decks you've been playing?
Part of it is just that the mono red decks have gotten a lot worse, so Rakdos has sort of taken up the mantle as one of the better aggressive decks. Part of it is that the black removal is really valuable, and the black 1-drops are better than those that exist in other colors. And so, Spawn has always been a good card in aggressive decks. It's just that the black aggressive decks haven't been the premier aggressive decks.
Yeah.
Whether they will continue to be or continue to be good is unclear. But I do think black has the best suite of 1-drops, and if you want to follow up those 1-drops with efficient threats, Spawn of Mayhem is one of the most efficient ones.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's just, I really do think Mono Black is just the better black aggressive deck, though, because you get just some really good synergies, like Order of Midnight, being able to have Rankle, the 3-black creature, Iara, is really good, too. Then you get, Lazotep Reaver, and then you get some of the 2-drops that really synergize. Well, the deck just has more synergy, and I think we've kind of proven, and I think people are starting to recognize that Black-Red Aggro doesn't have the chops like it did in the last season, with, Scrounger, stuff like that, to just be a good aggressive deck on its own. You really need these cool synergies, and you need all this other stuff to make it good, so...
Okay. Well, we'll see.
We shall.
I'm sitting there on 6 cards. I'll go to 18 and play a Knight of the Ebon Legion.
All right. So I am going to go Grazer and a Field. Your turn.
Let's play Dreadhorde Butcher and get in there.
All right, we'll block that.
Okay, take one.
19.
You can go.
All right. Oh. We be grazing. They hating. All right, your turn. Down to 2 cards, but we got a little decent defense up here.
Okay, well, let's check out what those cards are.
Oh,
Grazers.
All right. There are no more grazers.
Route and Krasis.
Yep.
Okay. Attack for 2.
Okay.
17. I'll get a counter here.
Sounds good.
You can go.
All right, so we'd really like a land here because then Circuitous Route gets us some Zombones, and we did it. All right, so we'll get 2 zombies. And then it's going to be your turn. All right, so we're going to go with gates of different colors because we do have all our Bant colors. So just in case we get Golos. So I guess Izzet Gate and the Golgari Gate. We've assembled Colortron.
That was a tilt.
The Circuitous Route. Yeah. That was a tilt. He killed my grazers, man.
Needed 1 turn of reprieve here to be in a pretty commanding spot, and instead got no turns of reprieve. So I think we're probably gonna have to end up setting up a big board before things get out of hand, and then hopefully Legion's End a pile of zombies and get a big attack in. And I guess that means just casting this Frenzy.
Oh, okay. You already played a land?
Yeah, I've already played a land. I'll pass the turn.
All right. Yeah, I like not attacking because I would have blocked, forcing you to waste your turn on that.
There's no way I can do that. And
Zombie for 6. All right.
So you go back up to 20.
So we were very fortunate with our draws. I mean, we drew an untapped land that, allowed us to play stuff each turn. So I mean, we were quite lucky on that. Now it's the question of, do we want to get in there? For sure, I'm going to get in there with 1, and I think... Oh, I'm going to get in there with both. We're going to start getting aggressive. Frenzy will take over the game at some point, so we're going to try to get in there.
And because of this crisis, I don't really have the ability to take a bunch of extra damage, so I think I'm going to trade the Butcher for both zombies.
For both? Okay, so you'd want to kill this one, I assume,
yeah.
then, right? Yep, okay.
And take 2.
So you take 2, yep. You go to 18, and I'm at 20, and I'll pass it to you. And our draw step was pretty decent to us, I have to say.
Okay, another 1-drop.
Okay.
There's a land. And there's another land.
Hey, you can...
so I guess I'll get in.
And I will not block.
I'll pump, so you go to 16.
16, yep.
Step, these will get some counters.
All right.
You can go.
Okay, so we'll untap here. We can attack with a zombie now, which is a little unfortunate. Ooh, that was a pretty decent draw, but we can attack for 6.
12.
All right, and then we have a Field of the Dead, 2 zombies, and then we'll present lethal. Another 6/6.
You go to
Draw
19.
3. Okay, now our hand is just absurdly stacked, and we'll say go. Now you're looking for that Legion's End. Or 2 Legion's End.
There's a land. Another knight.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Okay, well,
Your knight in shining armor.
we've stopped lethal, so that's
Oh,
good.
no.
Let's ride the untapped once. I go to 10.
And that one gets adventures. That's a nice thing about Experiment of Friends. You can still cast adventures.
It's on an adventure.
You are on an adventure. I like these new tokens. Anybody who pre-release got to see these, I'm sure.
Now we have a Butcher, and we can't really attack. So pass the turn.
All right, we'll untap. Now we can attack either. You have 2 great blockers. And now actually our hand is not that great. We'll attack for 6.
And go to 4.
Okay, we're going to keep that lethal threat around.
Oh, you're not going to just cast a Wrath of God or something?
I was thinking about it.
Play a land, make 2 zombies, cast Realm Cloak Giant.
I kind
Take
of
1.
I kind of want to, though. All right, we're gonna. This might be a little weird, but we're gonna time wipe.
Okay, well, with time wipe, yeah. Take 1 from the Butcher, you go to 19.
Yeah, or I go to 18. I was
18,
already
yeah.
at 19. Okay, and then we will go Fabled Passage and Sack, get 4 zombies. And Crisis for 3.
So you gain 1, go to back up to 19.
Yep. And then I'll draw a card, and then it'll be your turn. All right. Oh, Golos. Why are you so busted?
I think you mean Field of the Dead?
Yeah, sorry. I meant Golos as a generic deck title, Rob. That was Rob's shoes talking. His shoes get sassy, so.
All right, let's ride that one down. I got a 2.
Okay. Legions? Legions. At this point, I want it. All right. Yeah, we still had some gas, but not anything too great. But that's the thing is like each of these is just 2 zombies, so they didn't have to be that good.
Well, I had 1-drop, 2-drop Legions and your 2 creatures on the play into Frenzy, and did not come remotely close to winning.
You really didn't.
Not remotely close. So we saw there, Frenzy just actually not enough. It just got trumped in the end game. So I am gonna for this game 3. Let's get some drill bits. I got some in my last deck.
I like that. Try out drill bits. They seem good.
And
Well, he's figuring out his drill bit plan. You got any questions for us, Rob, while we shuffle up for an extra game? I think we got some time.
Yeah. Don V2 wants to know, in your 3-drop slot, Ross, was there any thought to like Judith over Regisaur, or is Regisaur's body just important?
I've been a pretty big fan of Regisaur's body. If things are going towards the Golos stack with Teferi and making a bunch of zombies, I think the reach on Judith becomes more valuable at that point. So it's just a matter of exactly where the metagame is going. This Rakdos list might be a little bit behind where it needs to be, at least in this matchup.
I mean, I feel like if you just take a nap or go to an amusement park day for 2 days and just don't play Magic and keep up with Standard, you're already behind, Standard right now, I mean, I feel like every set Standard seems to move faster and faster, but it's insanely fast these days. I was absolutely loving Simic Ramp Food, popularized by Brad Nelson in the fandom last weekend. Absolutely loving that deck. And then these adventure decks start coming out, and I just got destroyed 3 times in a row. Golos has started popping up, and that's not a great matchup. And I'm like, okay, well, my deck's bad now. It's kind of crazy how fast Standard moves.
And it's a weird dynamic because we're existing still before major tournaments have happened.
Yeah.
So in the early days, right when it gets released on Arena, especially during the streamer event, the preview, people are trying out everything, and so half the decks you play against are decks that you'll never see at a competitive tournament. People figure out they're bad, and so it elevates a lot of medium decks that are just playing good cards. Okay, and then those decks seem good, and you still don't really have an effective metagame that you're trying to target. But once you have a couple decks that start to rise above, and it sort of started with the Esper Dance of the Manse control deck. And people started targeting
which is now
that.
Basically bad already,
and once you finally have things that people are targeting, that's when the cyclical nature of the metagame starts happening. And we're still at a point where there's not really an established metagame, so that cycle is going to happen very quickly.
And can you believe this, Ross, that we're at a spot where it was just pre-release weekend. We're 2 days off pre-release, and there's already a Standard metagame. We've been playing Standard personally for a month. There's 3 medium-ish tournament results we have to go off of. Everybody's playing it on Arena. Think about a year ago before Arena and stuff. We weren't even able to play a deck yet until next week, where people could start figuring out we're just #blessed,
Yeah, sometimes it works that way.
All right, let's get to the games here.
We have another reasonable hand. Hopefully this one will do something.
This one's okay. It's a little awkward, but we're going to keep.
Okay, let's start on a mountain. No one drop this time.
Ooh. All right, so we drew Once Upon a Time right on time. Yeah, but it's bad.
So brick or
yeah, okay, it's not that bad. We will get your friend, Field of the Dead.
2 Teferi, 3 Circuitous Route.
Oh, I'm just putting Once Upon a Time. That would be a sick card. Holy. All right, take 2. Grazer, Field, your turn.
You're at 18.
Yep.
Okay, let's play a Stormfist Crusader.
Okay.
That's the turn.
We kind of need that. Our hand is bad. All right, so we are going to gain a life, and should we get in there? We're not going to be able to block. All right, we'll leave it back this time.
So you went to 19, now it's 18 for you, 19 for me on upkeep. Each draw. Draw for turn. Attack for 2.
I will take it. 16.
16.
No choice but to take it.
And let's play Spawn of Mayhem.
Spawn of Mayhem. Sounds good. It's a good Magic card. All right, we'd love something to do this turn. Nope, no such thing. No such thing. Okay, well, if we look at our hand, it's a little awkward. So we'll just go Field of the Dead here, and or do I even want to field? Nah, we better do just Island. Your turn.
Wow.
Try to get to our land.
Upkeep 18, 15. And then 1 more for the 18. So 17, 14.
Yep. 17, 14. Draw.
Draw for turn. Mushu.
And that does trample, but I think I just need to soak up some damage here. Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
Take 3.
We're going to take 3. Yep.
Brings
11.
11. I'm going to start off with a drill bit, which
Okay.
seems great because I can take a Realm Cloak Giant.
Yeah,
Oh, well, you have 2 of them.
I do. I do have 2 wraths. My hand has not been playing things in the early game. I gotta have something.
So I guess we'll take the Giant because
Since
taking the
that
second
is 2
Golos doesn't make
spells.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that gives you another spell.
Yep.
So, yeah, let's do that. And then we're not playing another creature into the Wrath, so I'll pass the turn.
Good call. And yeah, this is one of the scenarios where I don't think I have the luxury to play around and just, cast a value Golos here. I think I just have to time wipe. This clock is just far too fast, so yeah,
Yeah,
we'll just
Golos
wrap.
doesn't even block.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, Golos
This
doesn't
is
block
literally
anything.
8 damage. I would put you to 3 next turn.
Yeah, your turn.
Okay, no more drawing. And let's play a tapped blood. Well, I guess we'll hold off on this.
Okay.
'Cause we
Ranky?
have a rankle. We might want to untap that, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if I don't think we're going to be drawing cards. So I'm just going to attack you for 3.
Down to 8.
Go to 8. Yeah, I think we're just going to discard, and I'll discard this. I'm going to set up to do this next turn.
Sure. I think I'll just discard field.
Okay. And then I will play a tapped Blood Crypt and pass the turn.
All right. It's an awkward draw. Quite the awkward draw. Okay. No real choice to play Golos here. Now we definitely want something with green. I also want to gain a little life, so we'll see if we have a green gain a life land. I can't really remember.
That was a blossoming sand.
You are right. We'll gain 1. And we'll play this.
Okay. Yeah, but no zombies because you don't have.
No zombies, yep. No
you go to
7th
9.
round, yep. And then it's your turn. All right, so Golos not doing a lot of work right now, and I'm very far away from actually activating the ability, but I had no choice. I'm just trying to stay alive at this point. Be in the Hydride Crisis waiting room.
Let's attack for 3.
All right, I'm down to 6, and you're at 17?
Yeah, so
Okay.
you can't activate this. You're
No.
well away because this doesn't. This
Yep.
just makes colorless right now.
Yep.
You don't even have a gate.
Yep.
So you are probably going to get 2 zombies next turn.
That's pretty likely,
Yeah.
at
Well,
least.
I guess if you had a different land, you might have played it last turn just to get a zombie and then field.
Yeah, you just know this.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you do have a land in your hand.
Yeah, possibility I don't. But I do have a Golos, so I could go get a land with that.
Yes. So I guess
Yeah.
worst case scenario, you get to do that. Do I want to have a discard? I kind of want to just go like this and keep this in my hand. So I think that makes sense. I'd say I'll just take 3, go to 6.
Okay.
Play some 7/6s.
Whoa, okay.
You're up.
All right. That's an interesting one. So if we look here, I think there's one specific thing I want to be doing here, and that's trying to wrath the board. And if that is the case, I want to be casting this Once Upon a Time because I get to I get some looks at a Realm Cloak Giant. So we'll do that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, what am I doing? Just searching for one.
Yeah.
No such thing. But I don't think we're dead. Rankle's probably going to be quite the pain, but I don't think it'll kill us. So let's try to do this to set up. And now let's go. That doesn't trigger. Circuitous route. We're going to get 4 zombies. All right. So for gates, I guess we turn on Golos this way. Yeah, we'll turn on Golos.
3 cards in hand.
Yep.
Crisis, Golos, X.
Crisis, Golos, and Field. 3 more Zombones. We're out. Okay, so...
Zombies. We got 7 of them.
Oh, never mind. We got plenty
Oh, we
over
got
here.
Say, I thought I grabbed more than 7.
Yeah, no, you're good. You got it, buddy. Okay, yeah, we'll do that, and we'll pass it to you. And we know you won't be able to Legion's End, or at least not effectively, since you have to discard your hand.
On my upkeep, I will Murderous Rider the Golos.
Sure.
I'll go to 15.
15, yep.
And if we draw Legion's End, we win.
Yep. Legion's End waiting room. Please no.
That's the most awkward.
And then this is on an adventure, so you at least can cast that.
7 zombies now?
Can we get Cranberry Zombies playing right now? I'm not going to lie, that's what I do on stream every single time I would Field of the Dead.
Let me figure out what the royalties on that are.
What's in your head? What if I just sing it poorly? Do I get sued?
No, I think that's covered under fair use,
Oh,
probably.
okay, gotcha. Is that your shoes talking, or is that just Rob talking here? Okay. All right, yeah, we'll trade 6 of them for your dinos.
So you take 3.
Down to 3.
Go to 3. You're probably
We'd sack creature?
I don't think so. I think we're gonna both discard definitely and both draw.
Okay.
So I go to 14. You go to 2.
14 to 2. And the discard happens first, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will play this thing.
Where's your giants now, huh?
You can go.
All right. Okay, so nice draw, but I mean, we just have one play this turn. All right, and that's Krasis for 8.
You go to 6.
6, 7, 8. Yep, up to 6. Draw 4.
Yep.
All right, and then that's probably pretty insane. Fabled Passage, 3 zombies.
Yep.
And then we'll pass to you. We don't have to activate the Fabled Passage, the other half yet.
Okay.
On
my upkeep.
You don't have to
You don't
discard.
have to upkeep. Yeah, don't have to register anymore.
Upkeep,
That's how this
deal with
works.
this. Oh, that's bad, though. Yep.
So I go to 12. Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
You have 8 zombies.
I'll have 7.
Sorry, yeah, 7. So that's 14. So if I go to 11, then you need 5. Yeah, I can draw a card, and then the Murderous Rider at least
Stabilizes?
requires you to have 2 removal spells.
Yep.
Which you don't have a lot of. I guess you can have just a Deputy of Detention.
Yeah, I could have a deputy.
But I think I need to draw cards. I probably should have. If I had drawn more earlier, I don't know. Maybe I screwed up with this rankle.
Okay, I'll go to 3.
Yeah, and then 2 to my 11.
Oh, you're drawing, discarding, I assume, as well?
Yeah, obviously discarding.
Okay, so 2 to 11. I'm going to discard Temple. Draw a card. Okay.
You can go.
All right, I'll sacrifice 3 zombies. All right.
I'm so used to modern. Every time you've sacked Fabled Passage, I've gone to take your life down at one point.
Yeah, I know, right? All right. Well, I don't see why we don't just go for it here. We do have the deputy. And now we'll attack. All right. I kind of can't believe I won that game. This just has to be, well, I mean, just like my early game was pretty bad, and you were just attacking me very quickly. You know, Rankle connected like 3 times. I had to get lucky to hit untap land to hit that Krasis for that extra 1, or just remember the Secutus route on turn 4, where I had to draw a 5th land that was unique to be able to get 2 zombies to stop your threat. That's the same game, right?
Yeah. No, that was game.
Oh, okay.
That was game 2.
They all blend together. I just
That
got
game,
so many zombies on the brain.
That game, it was just like, I had the drill bit that looked like it was going to be very good, but you just had 2 Wraths in your hand.
Yeah. Like, I didn't do anything early. I just went Grazer and then turn 4 Wrath.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was enough because I had a second Wrath.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
And then, but I think honestly, the card that might have done me in was Stormfist Crusader. Because if that card doesn't come down, if that's just like a stupid 2/2, then the Rankle probably just puts you on nothing.
Yeah. Because I mean that's what I really needed was when that card hit. I was like, well, thank God, because I didn't have anything to cast. I was hoping I would draw like Scutus Rouse or Teferi off that, something to just interact on an early turn.
Yeah.
It wasn't the case, but it still drew me the Time Wipe, which was my second Wrath.
Yeah.
But Drill Bit looked way better.
Yes, I agree that Drill Bit looked very good. This card I think was actually just a liability.
Yeah.
I don't like Robber of the Rich, but I also don't like this card. In general, this deck felt a little clunky. Like I have a lot of threes. I think it had too many threes between Regisaur, Murderous Rider, and Spawn. Regisaur seemed like the worst one, obviously just getting chump blocked all the time. So I think if you can afford to lower the curve somewhere.
I think honestly, all the cards you are talking about that you don't like are all red. You know, I mean, I think that leads to just wanting to play mono black, and then you can play 4 Drill Bit. You know, I mean, you can play. I was seeing some mono black lists that played like Lazotep Reaver and the 1/2 Enforcer Death Touch thing, and then and then 2 Drill Bits in the main, 2 in the side. I saw like Wyatt streaming it last night, and somebody else built it, and it looked good. You know, it looked good. You still get Murderous Rider, you still get the triple black
get a
card,
cleaner mana base. So yeah, we're gonna see mono black. That'll be in the last match of the day. Yeah, not impressed by this Rakdos deck.
Yeah, Golos looked good though.
Yeah, Golos deck looks quite good. Our Burl Grazer is really great at stemming the bleeding against aggressive decks.
Holy.
Realm Cloak Giant is quite good, being a sweeper that you can find off of Once Upon a Time.
This is one point I want to drive home. This is the only good Once Upon a deck I've seen in Standard. You know, Modern for Tron, Modern for Allosaur Rider. I haven't tested. I don't know. But for Standard, I think the card is really bad, except when you can go hit your 2 creature engines, fix a mana base that is, let's get real, horrendous. You have, I mean, is it Guildgate in your Bant deck? You know, I mean, you have Golgari Guildgate in your Bant deck as well. But being able to get Wrath of God, and I actually firmly like the list that plays Beanstalk Giant a little bit more. Yeah. Because I think, it searches you for rampant growth. Another way to accelerant. It's kind of tough what to cut, because the deck is pretty airtight.
It's pretty tight because you just have such a high land count. But,
exactly,
I have seen Once Upon a Time look pretty good in decks with Edgewall Innkeeper as well, because you just need to find that card early and often in those decks. Yeah. But those are the 2 shells that I think it makes sense in. It's not a card that just goes into any deck. I haven't even liked it in Modern Tron. And you've tried it. There was a Modern Challenge last weekend, and the Tron decks that did well that just weren't playing it. Yeah. They were just normal Tron decks.
Makes sense. So, I mean, you never want to draw it late, you know?
I think this is one of the better decks. I think you'll see Rakdos decks around. I'm not a big fan of them. I think it's one of the decks that's going to show up this weekend, but not do particularly well.
Yep. I think it's a bit of a trap. I think they're cool. They're cool to see, but yeah.
Yeah, we saw them get a little bit of hype last week as things were just starting to form, just because, it's an aggressive deck playing good cards. Yep. But as all the other decks are getting tuned, they are sort of surpassing where the Rakdos deck was.
Exactly. And if we're starting to see these decks that are going over the top, like Golos, like Simic Ramp, kind of rise to what I would say is tier 1. And even the Doom Foretold Dance of the Man's deck was tier 1 for like at least 45 minutes. And, that's how fast Standard is moving. But Dance of the Man's crushes these kind of decks as well, because you have so many Wraths, you have so many Cry of the Carnariums. Doom Foretold is just an amazing card against a deck that's, plays big creatures one at a time. It doesn't go wide that well. So I don't think it has a place in this metagame, and things could change in a few days, but I probably wouldn't bring this to SCG Philadelphia. Golos, on the other hand, I'm much more high on.
Okay, so that is going to do it for us for match 1. We are going to take a quick break here. How long do we need, Rob?
5 minutes.
Nice 5-minute break, and we will set up match 2 for you, where Corey will be playing Simic Ramp, and I will be playing Simic Flash. A little Simic on Simic. So don't go anywhere.